Now, let me move to the heart of the message. We move from Paul's demeanor to Paul's discernment. And here's what he wants to teach us. He wants to teach us that there is a major struggle in the Christian life. And he does it by saying this: we walk in the flesh. We do not war. And then instead of using in, he says, according to the flesh. Here's what he's going to do. He's going to say, let me tell you about this struggle. And to understand it, you need to understand it in the physical sense, and you need to understand it in the spiritual sense. Now, in the physical sense, Paul used walking in the flesh or being in the flesh on numerous occasions. Too many to name in the book of Romans. If you were in Bible study this morning, you learned a great bit in Romans 8. That's where our class was. And we were studying, and our teacher led us well in seeing the battle in the flesh and how the flesh cannot produce what God really desires of the believer. But instead of walking in the flesh, there's a contrast. We have to walk in the Spirit, which means to be controlled by the Spirit, dominated by the Word and the Spirit and power of God. Paul in Galatians 2:20, in that great passage where he says, I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ lives in me. Here, listen to these words. Yet the life which I now live in the flesh, the life I now live right now in the flesh, I live by the power of God. It's this basic truth. Philippians 1:22, when he was struggling about whether he wanted to go to heaven or whether he was going to stay here in this life, and if he did, he wanted to make a difference. He said in Philippians 1:22, but if I live on in the flesh. Like one of my preacher friends said one time, that we do live in the flesh. What do you expect us to live in? Naugahyde? So we're in the flesh. Yes, there is part until the day that Jesus Christ brings to completion redemption in you. He's already started in that he forgave me and redeemed me from the penalty of sin. I'm no longer under sin's penalty. I've been forgiven because of the cross. I do not have to be under sin's power. The Bible says he doesn't want sin to have dominion over me, so he's given me the power to walk in the Spirit. But if I walk in the flesh, listen to me, sin will have dominion over the child of God with the greatest intentions if he's not controlled by the Spirit.